Alright, what's up everybody? It's time to get down with the clown. I'm here today to talk to you about lethal equipment in Modern Warfare 3. Alright, so I'm going to try to explain these a little bit more so that way you just have a little bit more knowledge than you may already have but should benefit you in the long run. Okay, so the first one that you can select is a frag grenade. This has its own benefits with its own issues. The biggest issue being if you do not have the knowledge of your distance you are throwing and you do not know how to appropriately cook it, it may explode too early, or you may throw it and it will have too much time left and they can either pick it up, throw it back, or they'll have too much time to get away from it. More importantly, a big benefit about the frag grenades is because they are not a Semtex and they do not stick to a surface, you are able to do very impressive or lucky long throws that will bounce over rooftops, they will bounce between objects, roll under objects, and generally get throws that you would otherwise have not gotten. So keeping that in mind, you can choose a frag grenade. Next is the Semtex grenade. This grenade is a sticky grenade and it will stick to the first thing of which it touches. The negative thing about a Semtex at times is its short fuse. It blows up substantially quicker than a frag because it does not have that cook timer. So what this means is those long throws, or if you throw way too high, your Semtex will sometimes just blow up mid-air before it lands on the target you intended. The benefits about Semtex is the fact that it sticks. If you are able to stick your opponent, who may be traveling near a friendly, you may get a 2-for-1. Or, most importantly, unlike a frag, when you throw a Semtex and you land it beside somebody, regardless of its timing, because it sticks, they are unable to throw it back, and ultimately it will usually kill them or force them to run out into the open, which will result in them being spotted and shot as a consequence. Next is the throwing knife. What this is good for is showing how impressively skilled you are, because it is a very difficult item to use at longer ranges. Secondly, you can get amazing kill cams with it, or just do really amazing trick shots with it because it does not have a timer. You can throw it across the level, it will bounce off any object unless it sticks in it, but once you learn the map you will know what you can bounce it off of. You can do trick shots. The throwing knife, as long as you practice with it a lot, it can be a viable option. However, I do not recommend it over either the Semtex or the frag because it has such a narrow area to hit. Because it's only a knife, there's lots of opportunities that you will miss your throw, which will result in your death. Next is the Bouncing Betty. The Bouncing Betty is pretty well a proximity-based personal mine that you will throw on the ground. When someone walks too close, it will trigger. It will shoot itself up in the air to mid-chest height, upon which it will explode and kill anybody in the area. This, although it sounds very attractive, has a large flaw. If the player knows what he or she is doing, before the Bouncing Betty kicks up in the air, it makes a quick trigger sound. If the individual hears this, he or she can just go prone, in which case the Bouncing Betty will do no damage. So, although that may sound like a big fault, there is a way to try to eliminate that so the Bouncing Betty will work more in your favor. And this relies on you as a player. When you place a Bouncing Betty, you want to be aware of everything that you're placing it in. So if you can, you put it inside of an object like a tire on the ground. You put it around corners. So the player approaching it cannot see its red light beeping. So they will have a reduced opportunity in which they can prepare to go prone. The more times that you do this, and you make it so that they only have time to go prone upon hearing that beep, the more likely it will work in your favor. Because the reasoning for this is, if the individual runs over the Bouncing Betty and is focused on fighting and is trying to shoot your teammate, he or she may not have the time or the ability to react to that beep because they're already so focused on everything else that's happening at once. Next is the Claymore. This is the equal alternative to the Bouncing Betty. It is a situational explosive that has an outward triangle of range. So when somebody trips the infrared laser, the device will explode. What it is really good for is it has a much faster trigger time and they have much less opportunity to dodge it than the Bouncing Betty. They cannot just go prone Very often you can't jump over it. Yes, you can sometimes, but it is not consistent. The big difference between the Claymore and the Bouncing Betty, Claymore is generally good for one guaranteed quick kill, and it's only going to work in the position that it's aiming. Bouncing Betty is an area of effect, and it can take out multiple enemies, providing they are all close. Next is the C4. If you get used to this, it's basically like another grenade as long as you learn how to time it. The difference being, it has a higher weight. So if you learn how to throw it, you can throw it on tighter angles over fences, and more importantly, you time the explosive, so you're able to get the most reward out of that explosive by timing when it goes off. Well, that's it for Lethal, guys. Best of luck with gaming. Let me know what you think. This is ggKlownz out. Take care.